Got it.
Got it.
All right. I officially call the meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. I will now read the governor's advisory. Oh, I'm Michelle Rehill. I am the chairperson of the Library Board of Trustees. And this open meeting of the Library Board of Trustees is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on July 16th, 2022. All members of the Library Board of Trustees are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The acts allow the Library Board of Trustees to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. I will now do the roll call. So remember, when I call your names, please respond in the affirmative. And I go alphabetically. So Brittany Burns.
Here.
Mitch Cohen.
Mitch Cohen here.
Mary Crowley.
Mary Crowley here.
Pat Fontes.
Pat Fontes here.
Jim Hogan. Oh, you're muted, Jim. Make it official.
Jim Hogan here.
Thanks. Jocelyn McKelney.
Jocelyn McKelney here.
Beth Samus.
Beth Samus here.
Richard Tucker.
Richard Tucker here.
And I'm Michelle Rehill, as you know, am here. We also have Jen Bruno with us. And Jen, would you like to introduce our guest who has stopped in for, I think, just a minute? Or
Sure. I would like to introduce to you all Caitlin Stacy. She is our new reference librarian to replace Deborah Hirsch, who retired last month. Caitlin, do you want to say anything?
I just wanted to say hi to everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. This is a really cool opportunity, and I'm really, really excited to get started with you guys. It's going to be a really fun ride.
Welcome.
thank you. Welcome. We're happy
Welcome,
to have you
Caitlin.
on this.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Can't
you.
wait to meet
Thank
you in
you.
person. All righty.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't know how long you want me to stay, or I'll scoot. I was like, I didn't know if you guys had any questions for me or anything.
Do you want,
I'm sorry, Michelle. Go
Oh.
ahead.
I was just going to say, don't know if people know where you came, if everybody was here when you said where you were before you came to Northborough.
No, I was at the Kingston Public Library on the South Shore in Kingston, Massachusetts. I was their Teen and Emerging Technologies librarian, and also head of the teen services. So I ran a whole department of one. It was a great time. It
Excellent.
was very, very fun. The teens are voicing their displeasure this week, but it's a fun ride.
Well, sorry for the teens, but happy for us.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Did I do anything? All right. Oh, and sorry, not spoken to. Brittany Burns is joining us tonight. She is our newest trustee. And I don't know if Brittany, you want to say anything before we start rolling along?
Oh, just hello, everybody. I'm really excited to join and be a part of this.
Welcome.
Welcome
Thank
aboard.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, welcome aboard. All right.
All right, well, I'm going to sign off, guys, but thank you for having me. Let's say welcome also, Brittany. I'm glad that I'm not the only new person in the room.
We're now together.
Yes.
right.
Well, y'all enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming, Caitlin.
Hey, good to meet
Thanks
you.
for coming.
Bye, Caitlin.
See you soon.
All right. Let's see, have I done everything? Read the script, I did. Oh, I introduced people. Okay. Now I feel like we can just start with the real meeting, a regular meeting, not the real meeting. Too many extra things. So moving on to the approval of the minutes of the November 1st, 2022 meeting. I'm sorry, my papers are stuck together. Does anybody have any questions about it, about the minutes?
You
If
need a
not,
motion first. I move that we approve them.
I'll
all
second.
right.
I'll se-
Yeah. Oh, who got the second?
Mitch.
Mitch, okay.
But Jocelyn, you're pointing at Jim.
I
wish they
should
were-
know
they were
better than to
consistent.
point on a Zoom meeting.
Richard.
Yes.
All right. So we'll do a roll call. Brittany, did you happen to watch the
Oh, I was
previous
gonna say,
meeting
now you can ask for discussion now that it's on the floor.
that's on the floor?
Yeah.
Well, before I get to that part, did you happen to watch the recording of the previous meeting?
I did not.
Okay, so your job tonight is to abstain from voting on that. All right.
Sounds
And
reasonable.
I'm saying that because when you do the roll call, you come up first.
Yeah, thank you.
Were there any questions or comments about the minutes? No, hearing none. All right, roll call to accept the minutes as presented. Brittany Burns.
Abstention.
All right, Mitch Cohen,
Mitch Cohen, aye.
Mary Crowley,
Mary Crowley, aye.
Pat Fonts,
Pat Fonts, aye.
Jim Hogan,
Jim Hogan, aye.
Jocelyn McKellarney,
Jocelyn McKellarney, aye.
Beth Samus. Oh, you are muted, just for the record.
That's Sama's eye.
Thank you. Richard Tucker.
Richard Tucker, aye.
All right, and I also vote in favor. Motion carries with one abstention. The FY23 appropriations report. And next order of business. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the appropriations report? I know that, yes, Jen.
I just a couple of comments. I think I mentioned it at the last meeting, but don't worry about the substitute appropriation line. A lot of it does look like we've expended our entire sub budget, but we have been short-staffed for quite some time between one staff member being out on extended leave and then another staff member being promoted and somebody retiring. So there's extra money within the salary line that we're able to use for substitutes. So it looks like we're overspending, but we're actually fine. And the other one is the non-print media budget. If you take a look at that, it's not actually only at 11%. There are thousands of dollars worth of overdrive invoices that just have not hit yet, but we're much closer to 30% or 40%. So we're a little off target for halfway through the fiscal year, but it's not 11%. That one, when I saw that, I was like, that doesn't look right. So I just wanted to kind of point those things out just in case anybody was curious.
Okay. And a quick reminder, because you talked about the salaries and that one line item, the salaries as a whole, all those line items, it's the total of those line items that has to balance at the end, not one specific line item. So if anybody's wondering about that later on. All right, were there any other questions or comments about that? If not, we'll move on to the library director's report.
The only update to my report is just to say that Gray's carpet will be coming out on Tuesday of next week to replace the carpet in the upstairs meeting room, which the friends have dubbed the room where it happens, which is a Hamilton reference, and kind of plays off of the room of requirement in the children's room. So Tuesday it should be finished. They assure me it's going to take one day. They'll remove the old ripped up carpet and put the tiles down, and they should be in and out all in one day, and we'll be moving the furniture back in on Wednesday.
Ooh, excellent. All righty. As that was a big part of your report for the month, you mentioned the open house, which is the next line item, old business. So does anyone have a question for Jen about anything in her report? It was pretty brief, which I appreciate.
I did a lot of stuff that probably wouldn't interest most of you. So I didn't put it in.
Just the highlights.
Yeah,
Well, now I'm curious,
And the pictures are very
staff
cute.
evaluations.
not curious.
Boy, she knows how to kill a mood.
And it's not fun.
Well, that will allow us to jump to the old business, which will be the new thing, the library open house. I understand that the subcommittee for the ad hoc committee for the open house met. Do we have plans? Can you share?
Do you want to
Anyone?
go, Mitch?
Sure. So yes, we're having a party, as is described in Jen's report. It'll be the 10th of January, 4:30 to 6:30, just prior to our monthly trustees meeting. And I know we'll talk about those specifics in a little bit later. And we know that the Friends are kind enough to foot the bill for this. They're giving us a budget of up to $500 to spend. We're going to spend a good chunk on cupcakes and some light beverages, seltzers and waters and things like that, coffee, that sort of stuff. And the open house is to honor a number of staff members. It's to welcome Jen to be our new library director, because Jen joined 2 years ago this month, almost to the date, I think. But that was in the midst of COVID, so we couldn't have an open house then. And then we said, we'll do it later, and we're finally going to do it in January. I'm very excited about that. And also to welcome a couple of new staff members, and to say a retirement farewell to Deb, who retired a month or so ago. So it is for all of the above purposes. Michelle, you've been nominated to do most of the emceeing and speaking, as well as Jen to handle the staff end of it. And I think that's it. We divvied up the tasks among us as far as who would buy what, who would do what work ahead of time. We're working on the invitations. We're going to get them out to some VIPs as early as possible. Frequently, members of our state delegation come to some of our events, so we want to get that onto their calendar if they're available. It's right after the State House season begins, so it wouldn't shock me if they're a little tied up, but I want to make sure to get that into their hands and to get it onto the calendars of some key folks in town. And then Jen will take care of emailing that out to the world and putting it on the website and social media.
Excellent.
When I spoke to the staff, I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
Oh, I just wanted to ask Beth and Pat and you, Jen, if I missed anything.
Like you pretty much covered it.
When I mentioned it to the staff, they were really excited, not only for the staff side of it, but also to meet and greet the new trustees, because there has been quite a bit of turnover. So that was just something we hadn't necessarily specifically mentioned in the meeting, but it's a good point too.
Excellent. All right. Nice summary, Mitch. Thank you. Thank you all for your work to the committee, putting it together and getting things organized for us. Appreciate that, even if you make me do all the talking at the event. You will give me like a list. These are the things that we want you to say, right? You don't have to write the speeches if you don't want, but Oh, yeah, now you have to do this, now you have to do this. That would be great.
We talked about putting together a little program too, so I think you can have an advanced copy.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. That will help. Think about a program. All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments about the open house? If not, then we'll move on to the new business, which is where the meetings will be. We said January through June, but we don't know. Does the advisory or our ability to have remote meetings go beyond March?
So the current law expires at the end of March, the last day of the month, that allows for remote meetings. Everyone that I've talked to anywhere, even remotely involved in the legislature, including our elected officials, are very, very confident that will either be extended or be made permanent before the end of that date. Everyone understands that that's been a boon for public access to local government. So there was a big fight over the summer between the House and the Senate at the state level as far as what the permanent solution would look like. I think it was the House wanted not only to make Zoom meetings or remote meetings legal, but hybrid meetings also to be clearly legal and encouraged and in some cases required. So that if you were meeting in person, you also had to allow remote participation by members as well as by the public. And I think that's pretty neat. The Senate was a little bit more cautious, and their interest was continue to refine that process, and they were pushing for the extension. They won the day because that would allow them to continue to discuss it. So the fight was over how strong a remote participation law would be, not whether or not to be. So obviously we have no guarantee about that. There is a possibility that the state will decide to not extend or craft some new crazy law that none of us have ever thought about. And as of April 1st, we might need to, I don't know, meet somewhere else. But I think it's reasonable to assume, based on those discussions, that remote participation will continue to be allowed as of the 1st of April and going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So really, and we know that the January meeting will be in person because we will all be attending the open house, right? Everybody nod. Okay. So that leaves February and March right now that we can discuss if we will have February and March meetings remotely, because we only agreed to do the calendar year 2022. So do we want to have our meetings remotely for at this time, say, yes, February and March will be remote meetings, or do we want to say we'll go back to meeting in person? Anybody have?
I
Well,
prefer the
There's
remote.
also a third option. We can wait till we meet in person in June, in January. And if that seems to go well, that may influence the vote for February and March. January could be like a test.
Our
We vote
test
after
meeting. I guess because we have the option and we're looking at 2 winter months, I'd like to be able to keep the option open that we meet remotely. Do we have to make a decision now that says that we will definitely meet remotely? We just need to.
Yeah, ultimately, as chair, you know, barring any vote by the trustees, you have the ability to decide the location and form of the meeting at your whim.
I feel very powerful now.
Michelle, I would be inclined to continue with remote meetings at least through March, barring except for the January one, mainly because they're still talking about too many, there are too many COVID cases, there are too many flu cases, there's too much of that going around right now. So that way, I think I would err on the side of being safe. And then after that, when the weather clears a little bit and hopefully the level of infection goes down, then we can go ahead and meet I mean, I'd love to meet in person. I'd like to meet everybody at some point. But I think it might be I think the safer way to go.
I'm inclined to agree with you for all those same reasons. Especially like you said, given that it's winter months and it's kind of hard to judge where things are going to be next week, let alone in February. So it's nice that we legally have the option to continue with remote meetings. And that also gives us, if we don't have to make the decision on all of the meetings today, sounds like we can decide when the agenda goes up, that's when we decide if it's in person or remote, and we can play it by ear. Sounds like as a board, or Michelle at your whim, as Mitch put it.
It needs to be part of the meeting posting.
Okay.
So yeah, so when
That's the decision maker.
That's, yeah.
So notes of encouragement, I can just drop on your lawn as I walk by with my dog. Remote.
Or just put little, flypaper airplanes down my driveway.
Michelle, if I could,
Mhm.
one of the things that I'm a big fan of for remote meetings is the fact that then the public can see what we do. And we're probably not the biggest ratings gatherer in the town of Northborough for meetings, and that's okay by me. A downside of meeting in person is we may or may not be recorded for that purpose. So I would think that because over the last 3 years, almost 3 years, we've been meeting entirely remotely and thus have been recorded all the time, and the public has had the option, if they so choose, to watch our meetings. My preference would be for the January meeting, as well as any meetings in person that we hold, that we find some way of video recording them for that public benefit.
Excellent point. I hadn't thought about that.
I think my concern would be that even if we are meeting in person, we're going to be pretty well spaced out. I don't know that we have the technology to record well.
Audio is, sorry, go ahead.
I was just from the audio perspective, at least. That would be my concern. So, at some point in the future, maybe Jen, comment.
What we need is something that has a powerful enough microphone, or we can meet in the conference room, which is a little smaller, which kind of packs us in a little bit. I will say from my experience, we did a meeting, a hybrid meeting with the New England Library Association a few months ago with a meeting owl, which is supposed to be the best technology with the most powerful microphone. And it could really only pick up like the 5 people closest to it. And they had to sit pretty close together. It's really meant for like a circular table with people sitting around it. So it presents a little bit of a challenge in the meeting room. Now, that being said, without the hybrid part of it, some of our other frustrations would be irrelevant, but just finding a way to record it so that it's playable and watchable could be a little bit of a challenge without additional technology. But that being said, I'm happy to check with the cable access channel to see what they have and what our options are, and we could test something out ahead of time to see if there's an option to record it. But if it doesn't go well, then we may need to look into purchasing something or continuing to meet solely virtually.
And does Algonquin have that capacity? Because maybe if there's some students who are doing that kind of technology as part of the class, maybe they'd be willing to come once a month and record.
Happy to check.
Or our friends at Assabet.
Yeah,
Well,
the
that's right,
the
too.
cable department is located within Algonquin and.
Right, but I mean,
yeah.
the students might be available as opposed to the staff that's professional that.
Yeah. And I obviously wouldn't be able to be behind the camera during a meeting, but I'd be happy to set that kind of stuff up. And Jen, I could help you do the research. In my former town, I led the efforts to doing a lot of meeting recording, and it's pretty easy with the right microphone. And the right microphone isn't necessarily an expensive microphone. Sometimes it's a really cheap one that doesn't have directional capability and things like that can do a pretty good job of
Yeah.
collecting a lot of people.
If you want to come in and set up the camera sometime, we can see about connecting it to, we have a Snowball, which is an audio microphone meant for
Okay.
podcasting.
Okay.
We have one upstairs, so that might be sufficient. Don't know.
I'm guessing it probably wouldn't be good at gathering the audio of people more than 3 feet or so away from the microphone. If that's a microphone that's meant for you sitting up close is different than a microphone meant for people being, 6 or 8 feet away.
Fair. But we do have some money in the budget, so we can always price something out and try to find something maybe before the 10th and
Yeah.
see if it works.
Yeah, I think between the two of us, we can talk to Kathy over in cable and see what they have.
Sounds good.
Figure something out.
I'm sure they have equipment because they do a setup for the school committee meetings and all of those are recorded. So
Yeah.
they have the table mics for the entire setup.
Perfect.
So you guys, Mitch and Jen are going to check that out for recording meetings ongoing, like even if we meet in person. And at this point, then do we know like I said, the next meeting, the January meeting will be in person at the library. And after that, I guess I'm going to say, because I have the power, that February and March meetings at this point will be remote. And we will revisit, we'll see what happens with the law after that and figure out to meeting in person versus meeting remotely, to what happens and recording them so that they can be broadcast. They will not be live broadcast, right? You're not thinking
Correct.
one. Okay, good. So, all right, so we can look into that for the next time around. Like the next time around that we have an in-person meeting. If you think you're ready in January, January 10th, we'll see what happens. But you have a party to throw. I don't know if you want to be doing recording and throwing a party. I mean, an open house, it's not a party. Any other input, feedback, comments, questions? On any of the items that we've covered on the agenda? I just want to make sure we didn't miss anything, because we covered a lot of ground and it's only 7:30. So I just want to say, I'm just putting it out there again. Anybody have anything to say?
The February meeting date would be Valentine's Day, which some people celebrate more than others. Isn't a problem for me. We would
I
typically.
mean, you're not romantic?
What's more romantic than a trustees meeting?
Come on.
It's a Tuesday night.
We would celebrate it in an adjacent weekend in our house.
Okay.
So
I would love to see all of you Valentine's Day. I'm gonna go now.
See yourself out.
Costanza out.
Just if anybody hadn't noticed that, sometimes people have issue with that.
Yeah, well.
Okay.
Well, we'll try and keep the meeting brief and people will still be able to make their romantic dinners. I just have one comment that I would like to make before I ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting, but Pat obviously got my email about wearing the red sweater with snowflakes. Did the rest of you not get the message? Come on.
I tried to balance with the green, you know?
Oh, well, excellent. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I dressed to match the weather.
Nice.
I'm not sure if I did or not.
Now I'm checking my email.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Gonna call me on it. All right, so officially.
I do have a quick question.
Oh, yes.
The people who have joined the trustees since the subcommittees were assigned, will they be joining subcommittees?
They will, you know, I thought of that last night. I believe that I put Pat on the administrative committee.
Okay.
And was going to put Brittany on long range planning because I moved myself to building and grounds, if I remember correctly. I will verify that and I will have that information. I can share that with you.
Will I actually get that email? Because I didn't get the red snowflake sweater email.
I'll send the subcommittee email to you twice to make up for it.
That would be super. Thank you.
Okay.
And then Jen, I'll answer your question about the
I
subcommittee.
was wondering if you got I didn't know if I had sent it to the wrong email address.
Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure that I just told you the right subcommittee members. Yeah, I have a folder right next to me that has that information, and that's one of the forms that, like, pieces of paper that's always sitting right at the front. And it's not. I don't know what I did with my folder, but it's not right where it belongs. So
It's with my email about the sweater.
exactly, that's what's in the way. All right. So officially, the next meeting will be January 10th at 7 p.m. We'll be meeting in person because we will be attending the open house, which will precede the 7 o'clock meeting. And if there isn't any other business that comes before the board at this time, the chair would be willing to hear a motion to adjourn the meeting. If anyone would like to do so.
Let's give it to Brittany for her first meeting.
All right, then I move to adjourn the meeting.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second on that?
I second it.
All right, thank you, Pat.
That was Beth.
And then I will do, oh, what? Sorry?
I said that was Beth.
Was it Beth?
Beth. It was Beth.
Oh, I'm
I
so
waved my
sorry.
hand, but it was Beth who talked.
Oh, okay, got it. Just to make sure. So Pat, Brittany moved and Beth seconded the motion to adjourn the meeting. And I will do the roll call. All those in favor, Brittany,
Brittany Burns, aye.
Mitch Cohen,
Mitch Cohen, I.
Mary,
Mary Crowley, aye.
Pat,
F. Bronx, aye.
Jim,
Tim Hogan, aye.
Jocelyn,
Jocelyn McKellany, aye.
Beth,
Beth Thomas, aye.
Richard,
Tucker, aye.
Michelle Wehill also says aye. The motion carries in the affirmative unanimously. The meeting is adjourned at 7:35 p.m. See you all in January. Enjoy the upcoming.
Nice holiday, everybody.